Hey folks, it's Maximus Mark, and welcome to the podcast show that punches you right in the face with information, but in a good way. And I know what you're thinking. It's been a hell of a long while since podcasts. Well, there's actually been a reason for that. I've been busily working away, opening up my very own personal training studio, not just any personal training studio, but Melbourne's premier personal training studio, where all we do is personal training. We don't do memberships and we don't do casual fees. So when you come and train with us, you get the very best service each and every single time. We're located at 381 Swan Street, Richmond, Melbourne. So do come check us out. But it is by appointment only. So if you want to come check us out, make sure you make an appointment. You can do that by emailing info@enterprisefitness.com.au or contacting us simply on our Facebook page. So with that said, let me just catch you guys up onto speed with what's been happening with me. I recently just got married. Woohoo! Yes, I did get married in lovely Queensland to a very, very lovely lady. But I won't bore you with that any longer. The next announcement I'd like to make is that we've got our next internship program. And if you guys haven't been staying up to date with me, we're running these. We run a few now. We've done two. This will be our third internship program that we're running. Our next internship program is going to be running on the 18th, the 19th, and the 20th of July. And it's basically 3 days where I get to punch each and every single one of you in the face with information, but in a good way. There, I said it, my catchline again. But in all seriousness, this internship isn't like any other. What you guys are really going to get, if you're a personal trainer or a figure competitor, physique competitor, bodybuilder, whatever it is, if you're really wanting to take your knowledge to the next level, this is where it's at. We've had a lot of trainers from all over Australia actually come through, and they've really loved the program, and you can see some of the testimonials and some of that, what they've written about the program online at either Maximus Mark or our new website, which is enterprisefitness.com.au, and all you have to do is click on the internship tab, and you can even sign up right there. But essentially what you're going to get, the way I've done this is it's the kind of program that I wanted when I first started, cutting out all the nonsense, cutting out all the bullshit, really just putting that information in a sweet little teaspoon so you can just indulge. So day one is our training day, essentially. Well, I mean, you train every day in the program. Actually, you do 7 sessions over the 3 days. But day one is the training day where we talk to you about how we structure our programs, what we do with a new client, essentially, to a client like, let's say, for example, Janet Kane or Fred Turks, who's the current welterweight Australian title holder. So what I did when I had a client like that, because that's very different, programming for someone who's very advanced to programming to someone who's just never been into the gym before, how essentially we do that, our structural balance assessments that we use, and essentially how we think about programming for the client. Obviously, we train you guys, get you guys to really understand our techniques, our methods, and why we do produce the results we do through training. And again, the training day, a lot of trainers think, oh yeah, I know this. I guarantee you, and our program does come with a 100% money back guarantee. I guarantee you walk out of this day going, wow, there's so much that you didn't know, didn't realize. So that's definitely a fun day. The next day, which is probably most people's favorite day because of my knowledge, my broad knowledge around nutrition, is the nutrition day. And again, that day you train twice again. And by the way, with all the training, it's all systemized, so you guys get an idea of how we actually methodically how we progress our clients. So it's very clever the way it's done, yes. But day two is the nutrition day, and I talk about supplements obviously on that day as well, but talking about exactly what we do with our clients to get them the results that they want. And we also talk about essentially programming nutrition for your physique competitors, your fitness models, your sports models, and also guys who want to put on mass and strength. So we do cover a lot in that day, and people really walk out with a new understanding and a new eyes of looking at nutrition. And then finally, this is for, I guess, the personal trainers. Essentially, obviously, this is some of their favorite days, the ones who are already running their own business and want to know how exactly I got to, solo trainer to having a team of 6, now 7 people part of the team, and doing quite well at our personal training studio. So this is the business day, and I also teach a lot on success principles. So look, I could talk about this program. I'm really excited. I love each and every time I get to teach it, but it'd be an absolute honor if you are on the line. You want to find out more, you can definitely shoot me an email. best place to shoot it is info@enterprisefitness.com.au. You generally get back to people, or we generally get back to people within 12 hours. So if you don't get a response, we probably didn't get your email. So just Facebook us or give us a call on the hotline. And we have our own 1300 number, which is 1300 887, and I'm just searching for the rest of the details. Just bear with me 1 second. How unprofessional of me on the line. Doesn't really matter because it's my podcasting show. No one can tell me off. It's 1300 887 143. Give us a call, and we'll definitely be able to help you out. But without further ado, let me introduce to you, this is an amazing podcast. Let me just set this up. Done with Scott Abel. Scott has been, I do his intro when we get on the line. So how about I just shut up now and play the damn podcast. See you on the other side. This podcast is proudly brought to you by Enterprise Fitness. Hey, it's Maximus Mark, and welcome to the show that punches you in the face with information, but in a good way. Today's guest is Scott Abel. Scott is in his 4th decade of coaching. Scott is a unique empowerment coach, life coach, and counselor, and works from a unique background of social and academia and decades of experience with one-on-one coaching. He has authored multiple books, programs, and audio programs, which can all be found at the site www.scottabel.com. So it is an absolute pleasure that I welcome to the show Scott Abel. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate being here.
Thank you. Before we get really into the meat and veg of today, I always like to get some background of exactly how you became Scott Abel. So can you tell our listeners a little about how you became Scott Abel, bodybuilder, trainer, extraordinaire, empowerment coach, life coach, and counselor?
Wow. Now that I'm in my 50s, that's a long story to cover, but long story short, I guess I was always into sports, physically active. I enjoyed the sort of individual type sports where you stood or fell on your own accord. So I was kind of attracted to the bodybuilding milieu. I liked that it was something you carried with you. It was a different day back then. It was a different era back then. And of course, I was much different myself back then. But I was pursuing it along the same time as I was pursuing my education. And I got my undergraduate and graduate education in sociology and social psychology. So at that time, I was quite adept at being a counselor, so I did a lot of counseling and social work in really, really areas that were really conflict-oriented, so it put me in a unique position to have to speak to several different psyches at one time. Like one of my jobs was integrating long-term offenders back into the community after their sentences were over, so I would have to deal with them on a life skills level, but also deal with the communities they were going to be living in and talk to the people who live there to sort of smooth everything over. So I was becoming adept at realizing that people think differently about the same things, and it made me very good at sort of looking inside people's heads and being made me, of course, a much more effective coach than just someone who was educated in calorie counting and rep counting. So, it kind of led me to what I call three-dimensional coaching, which is seeking that never-ending balance between mental, emotional, and physical well-being, what I call the triangle of awareness. So in short, that's sort of, if I was gifted, I was less gifted at bodybuilding genetics and more gifted toward the counseling. I won several academic scholarships for intellectual proficiency when I was doing my grad work, and I was one of my academic advisors once said I was a natural-born psychiatrist. So I think those kind of things kind of amalgamated into me going directly to the top of the bodybuilding world, because I was taking novice competitors all the way to national championships and to the Olympia stage. And behind the scenes, I was kind of a go-to guy by publishers, and I knew everybody at the top of the industry. They all came to me for inside scoop or a different perspective. I was on the board of advisors for a few supplement companies and whatnot. So, I was fortunate enough to sort of get to the top of that mountain and, look down, and I didn't like the view, so I kind of changed course.
Right. So, having that wealth of experience, what would be one of your career highlights or something that really stood out to you that you're proud of?
You know what? I kind of try to leave pride behind. For me, pride was not a good thing in my life. Yeah. So once I surrendered pride, I was